Hi, Real Recaps here. Today I am going to explain a Hindi sci-fi movie called PK. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. At the start of the movie, we see an alien-like spacecraft landing in a desert environment, and a naked person, PK, lands on Earth, wearing only a necklace. Almost as soon as he lands, he spots a person in the desert and runs up to him. He seems shocked and strangely excited that there is life on this planet. Immediately this man robs PK of his necklace, the only thing he's wearing. Wondering desperately, the alien learns he must wear clothes, which he steals from couples making out in dancing cars. He also learns he needs notes to buy food, and he needs to learn a human language which he can only do by holding hands for 6 hours. One day, the alien, whose name becomes PK after people think his bizarre antics mean he's drunk, gets knocked down by rustic musician Baron. Baron likes the strange guy and thinks he's longing for a woman, so he takes him to a bordello. Here, PK gets a chance to hold a girl's hand all night, and thereby her language is transmitted to him, finally enabling him to express himself and communicate with humans. PK excitedly tells Baron his remote has been stolen, and without that remote he has no way of communicating back to his home planet and letting them know that he is alive, in turn, not being able to return home. Baron tells him to go to the city to search for it, but in the city, PK is only chased away by unsympathetic cops. People brush him off, telling him God knows where his remote is. All out of options, he starts trying to find God. PK now goes to temples, churches and mosques, but he's utterly confused as each has different ways to worship and different rules. He then one day finds his remote at a prayer ceremony held by the great priest Tapasvi. PK can't find God and starts handing out pamphlets seeking the divine. A curious television reporter, Jugu, reads one of these pamphlets and finds it quite humorous. After this she tries to talk to him and is intrigued by his attitude towards God and asks him why he's looking for God on the railway station. He then explains how his remote was stolen and people told him to find God. He then tells her that this is where most people come and go and this therefore increases his chances of finding God. After that it cuts to Jugu doing a news piece on a puppy who supposedly tried to suicide 3 times by jumping off the building, eating sleeping tablets and jumping on the stove. She is clearly unhappy with the standard of news that she has been asked to report. She then pleads with her boss to let her interview PK and let him plead his case against God on live news. He refuses, explaining to her that the last time he tried to report anything negative about God, he got his butt literally kicked. Jugu is later seen following PK and seeing what he gets up to on a daily basis. She notices something quite amusing when he goes to a Hindu temple and starts fishing money out of the charity box. He then uses his own self-defense technique of pasting stickers of Hindu gods on his face so they cannot hit him. After Jugu gets him out of trouble at the temple, she asks him where he stays and how he gets by life. He then explains that when he is hungry and needs a place to sleep, he checks into police stations where he is fed and allowed to sleep under a roof. She is perplexed by his response and asks him how that's possible. It then shows PK walking up to a wall that says "Do not pee" and peeing on it. While doing so, he also tries to catch the attention of a policeman. After doing this, he is taken to jail with a smile on his face. Jugu follows PK into the prison and bribes the guard to let her interview him for her news channel. After Jugu meets PK again in the jail cell, he explains that he is an alien. He also tells her everything that's happened to him since he landed on Earth. She realizes he is just some drunk fool that thinks he lives somewhere in the stars, but before she can leave, however, PK tells her he knows about the dog she is doing her news report on. She eagerly asks PK how he found out about that. He then explains that, after grabbing her hands, he knows what's going on in her mind. She is then seen bribing the guard to let him free. Afterwards, as they are wandering outside, an elderly man comes up to PK and asks for money for his wife's operation. PK gives the man the money. After the man leaves, Jugu tells him that there is no hospital nearby and that he was just scammed by the elderly man. PK says that the elderly man had taken his wife to a 5-star restaurant for the first time to celebrate their 50th anniversary, and since the wife had ordered ice cream, it broke his budget. That's why PK gave him the money. Jugu follows the elderly man and sees that everything PK told her was true. Juggu brings PK to her boss and tells him to please let PK argue with the great priest Tapasvi on live television. He begrudgingly allows her to bring PK into the office and says he will interview him personally. When PK walks into the office, he sees that there is a condom on the floor. He immediately starts asking people whose it is, and no one owns up to it. He then questions Juggu's boss innocently about why no one owns up to condoms when they fall out of people's pockets, but everyone jumps on it when money is dropped. After a while of asking similar questions about war and sex, he wins Juggu's boss over. He slowly starts going into the great priest's temple and questioning him about his methods in an innocent way. One of the great priest's followers explains that his wife is sick and the doctors have said she doesn't have much time left. The great priest then orders him to go to the other side of the globe to climb a special mountain and then go pray at the top of the mountain and his wife will be cured. PK stands up and says this is wrong. The man should just spend as much time with his wife as possible before she passes away. God would never make his own children go through all the difficulty of these tasks just to try save their loved ones. He would instead tell them to spend the limited time they have together. Tapasvi quickly ends his prayer meeting with loud music and gets PK kicked out. Once again, PK goes to him exclaiming that people have made religions, not God, and that Tapasvi cannot tell which person is which religion just by looking at them. PK then presents 5 people to him and tells him to ask God which person belongs to which religion. Tapasvi arrogantly replies saying that I can do that myself. After Tapasvi makes his judgment, PK reveals that he made these people change outfits, leading to all of Tapasvi's judgments being incorrect. This then airs on television leading to Tapasvi losing followers and popularity which leads to him losing a lot of money. Tapasvi then calls the news station and agrees to meet with PK and debate once and for all that the remote PK claims is his is in fact a bead of a necklace belonging to a god that was found on a mountain and brought to him. As PK is preparing to debate Tapasvi, him and Juggu grow closer and he falls in love with her. He grabs her hands once more and sees her sad past, in which a Pakistani boy, Sarfraz, broke her heart and left her at the altar. Tapasvi had warned her family of this prior, but Juggu did not believe him and ran away with him anyhow. Meanwhile, Bayron catches the thief who had looted PK's remote and brings him to Delhi, but both perish in a terror bomb blast which leaves PK shaken. In the TV show later on, Tapasvi challenges PK to tell the truth of Sarfraz's story and take back his remote. PK reveals how a mistaken letter and not religious differences parted Sarfraz and Juggu. Cherry rings the Pakistani embassy in Belgium live on TV and Juggu and Sarfraz are reconciled, after which PK wins back his remote. PK is escorted by Juggu to the desert where he's called his spaceship. As he leaves, she discovers he loves her, but PK has also learned to lie and says he's carrying back various sounds from Earth, where in fact his transistor tapes only contain Juggu's voice. She later writes a book on PK, saying how much she misses him and how he gave her 2 great gifts, her father's love and Sarfraz. The ending of the movie shows PK return to Earth 1 year later with a new research team. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Hope you enjoyed and thank you for watching.